Protecting the people who protect us. A Northwest Missouri state senator wants to make it illegal to dox a local law enforcement center. KQ2's Bob Severa shares how this local lawmaker is taking action and how it affects officers' lives.
There's an inherent risk police officers take when they sign up for the job. But there's a growing cyber threat no one likely saw coming that poses a new danger. It's called doxing.
It should not be a risk that they take on.
Doxing is a form of cyberbullying that's been recently used to target police officers and their families across the country. Officers become victims when someone finds their personal information, like an address or social security number, and posts it online to encourage harassment.
Anytime anybody's personal information is given out over social media or any kind of internet site, it can be detrimental or dangerous to that person and their family. Nobody wants anybody showing up at their front doorstep.
Missouri State Senator Tony Luetkemeyer says he feels the threat to law enforcement is real, not only to officers, but to their families.
They're not signing up for people to show up at their private residence and intimidate them and their spouse and the rest of their family. That's nothing that our law enforcement officers sign up for.
Luetkemeyer wants to make doxing a police officer a felony crime that's punishable by jail time. He introduced legislation at the state capitol, and this, he says, is why.
We are going to start sharing things with your children's teachers. You don't think that we have extensive researchers? You don't think that we know where all of y'all live? You don't think we don't know where your children go to school?
This is video from social media of a recent police protest in Kansas City. Luetkemeyer says the video caught his attention and that the protesters' action crossed a line.
I thought it was disgusting. Police officers should not be worried about the whereabouts of their children's schools being publicly disclosed so that people go and harass members of their family. That type of conduct should never be acceptable in our society. And people who want to do things like that, to attack police officers and their families, they need to be held accountable.
St. Joseph police say doxing is not a tactic they've seen used frequently against their officers. But they say the threat isn't just limited to police.
It's important to everybody. I mean, you yourself wouldn't want your personal cell phone or your address put out on any sort of social media.
Police say there are proper ways to report officer misconduct. Doxing isn't one of them.
I would often tell people, is it worth it? Is it worth it? I mean, to me, it's not worth going to prison over trying to exact some sort of revenge towards an officer or any other person in the community, because that's going to be short term. And if you have a legitimate problem, there's other processes that you could play out.
While lawmakers take steps to control the future of doxing, Senator Luetkemeyer fears what could happen to the future of police departments if the cyber threat is left unchecked.
My ultimate fear is if we don't, stand behind our law enforcement officers and make sure that they and their families feel safe and protected, that it's going to be very difficult for police departments in the future to be able to recruit and retain good officers. And that's not good for anybody.
Bob Cervera, KQ2 News.
Luetkemeier's bill will start working its way through the state legislature when the lawmakers return for the General Assembly on January 6th.